Welcome to this session, and I must confess that I've been around on the web for almost a decade now, but this is the first time I'm actually doing a completely live webinar. So in that sense, it's a new experience for me as well. And what are we talking about here? So we're talking about SlideShare. And specifically within SlideShare, we are talking about a lead generation program that we launched about 3 years back, and it has been very successful. And so the intent here is to introduce LeadShare to an Indian audience, and that's what we are going to be talking about. A little bit about the flow behind the presentation. So, overall what I have here, I think it should take about 35 to 40 minutes. I'll start off with a little bit of a background about SlideShare. And, my intent here is to kind of make people understand how SlideShare works as a platform. Because if you are wanting to use SlideShare in your business requirements, I think it's important to understand the DNA of the community that we have built and what role it plays. So that's about SlideShare. Moving on from there, I'll talk a little bit about the SlideShare Premium service that we offer. And the LeadShare thing, the lead collection program, is actually one of the features which is available under SlideShare Premium. So that'll be the second part of the presentation. And finally, moving on to the last section, and I think this is probably where the best takeaways from this session are likely to be, is that if you wanted to run a lead generation program yourself, what are the 10 tips that you could go and start using them straight away? So that's the flow of the presentation. So in case you haven't encountered SlideShare before, if we were to describe SlideShare in a sentence, this is what we would say. SlideShare is the world's largest community for sharing presentations on the web. And a little bit of trivia here, and interesting from an Indian standpoint, is that SlideShare, the idea behind SlideShare was born in Delhi in 2006. And SlideShare has 3 founders. I'm one of them, and there are 2 other founders who are based out of the US. But the idea itself germinated in Delhi, and that's where SlideShare was launched. So the way it happened was in 2006, later part of 2006, which is October 2006, we launched. The launch post was on TechCrunch, and immediately we could feel that we have we have struck a chord somewhere, because lots and lots of people started using the platform. If you 2013, we are ranked amongst the top 150 sites on the internet. And so it's been a great and eventful 6 to 7 year journey for us. And so let me kind of go back. So when we say that SlideShare is amongst the 150 top sites, then one of the questions that you would like to ask is, who are the users of SlideShare? Where does SlideShare get its content and its community from? And I think there are 4 large buckets if you were to categorize the usage of SlideShare. The first bucket is technology, and technology people are always the early adopters of a platform. And the second large bucket is education, and SlideShare is very popular in this segment. The third bucket, which is by far the largest of all the segments, is the business segment. And businesses characteristically across the web, they are slightly late in terms of adopting a platform. This is true for SlideShare, and it is true for other platforms as well. And the fourth bucket that I would like to pick out is essentially the non-profits and the government usage of SlideShare. So within these 4 buckets, this comprises almost 65 to 70% of our content as well as our community. And So what is the rest 30%? The rest 30% is what we call the long tail of the internet, which is, lone sundry users using the platform for whatever suits them best. So you have people sharing book reviews, people sharing photographs, paintings, there are lots of humorous slideshows. So these are individual users largely. And this can also be described as more or less the consumer part of SlideShare. So if the 4 buckets that I described previously was the professional bucket, which is about 70%, and it kind of marks the basic characteristic of the platform. The 30% kind of it's in minority, but it has its own role to play in the community itself. In SlideShare, we've always been very oriented towards integrating into different parts of the web ecosystem. And we have applications on Facebook. We have an application on Google Hangouts. We have API partnerships with Twitter, with WordPress. And we had an application on LinkedIn, and we've had a partnership with them. And the LinkedIn partnership kind of, in a way, paved the future of the company, because last year in 2012, SlideShare was acquired by LinkedIn. So in that sense, we are now a fully owned company under LinkedIn, and I'm a LinkedIn employee. What the acquisition did to SlideShare was that, or let me put it this way, that what was the rationale behind the acquisition of SlideShare by LinkedIn? So LinkedIn is a much larger network than we are. They have about 200 million users, and SlideShare community is smaller. We are about 25 to 30 million user account. But interestingly enough, the best of our community is already, they are already LinkedIn users. So our community in that sense is a subset of the LinkedIn user base. And we had an application on their application platform. So we knew the organization. There was already, back and forth going between the two companies. And last year when LinkedIn asked us this question about whether we would be interested in getting acquired, we didn't have to think very hard about it. We thought a lot about the organizational aspects of the integration, about legal, HR and accounts and many of those issues. But at the product level itself, I think the fit was there for everyone to see, and it wasn't a very hard decision for us to make. So much so that, how is SlideShare similar or different from LinkedIn? So the common things are that, both of the platforms are oriented towards professionals. And that is the underlying rationale behind the acquisition. Interestingly enough, we are complementary in terms of usage. So LinkedIn is a professional networking platform, and we are a platform for sharing of professional content. And you could argue that the sharing of the content is complementary to the network which is going to share it. But our strengths are aligned somewhat differently. What we do best is professional content. And if you have professional content and if you want to use that content for your business purposes, SlideShare is a great platform for you. And my presentation today is going to talk in depth about that. So to summarize the LinkedIn partnership, I think both communities are oriented towards professionals, but they are complementary and they have different strengths.